Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, evening, good morning. I wonder why I will start from afternoon before getting just basically how I'm thinking. Whenever you're joining me, thank you for joining me. My name is Ruth Mahogany. I am a multi-talented artist, a musician, a poet, music producer, and just really into media creation and direction. So I'm not always creating my stuff. Some days I'm writing for others. I am producing for others or directing content for others. So hit me up if you need any of those services, right? Thank you very much for joining me on Things and Things, Wisdom for Artists. This idea is evolving. So please make sure to subscribe to my channel, Wisdom for Artists, where I want to dedicate solely to this idea, right? Today, what do I want to talk about? I want to talk about having the guts to follow our intuitions, right? In creating, whether it's idea formations, and again, I say that this is not just for people who create in the art industry, but for anybody that is building something that is new or novel, right? Just have the guts to follow your intuition. And this means that we will need to have the courage to be wrong, right? The courage to be wrong. We want to make right decisions. What is the right decision anyway? Some days, the journey, most times the journey is not linear, right? And sometimes your own story is that you're supposed to go up the mountain 5 times before you now go back to the top of the mountain and find what you need. Now, why? That's not wisdom, that's foolishness. There's the whole idea of people saying, oh yeah, sometimes when you learn from other people's experiences, you will cut your own journey and all of that. That's a great thing. If you are supposed to learn from other people's experiences, I believe like your intuition would push you to learn from other people's experiences, right? And this is what I mean, is that some days what we are praying for, what we are yearning for, we have not yet elevated our consciousness to receive it. And one of the things that I think from watching life is that life, I don't necessarily want to say the universe or God, right? Because sometimes we feel like that's cliche, but that said, but you will be taken through a journey, right? We'll be taken through a journey to strengthen us to receive the things that we want, right? If you say you want to be able to carry, I want a 20 liters bucket of gold, if there's anything like that, of gold dust. The thing is that if it appears to you now, do you have the muscle to carry 20 liters, right? Your journey then might be that you have to start carrying. You might be led to help someone to start carrying some load, say 5 liters, and slow and steady your muscle builds to 10 liters, your muscle builds to being able to carry 15 liters. Now that is the journey to be able to receive your 20 liters of gold dust. If that makes sense, if that's a very random idea, but I hope you get me. Now I thought about there's the story of the Alchemist by Paul Cielo or so. That's one of the best books I've read, right? But in the Alchemist, he had is his name Santiago or so? Okay, Santiago. I would remember that. I'm write the name up. But he had a dream, right? He had a dream. He was by a tree, I think in an old church building or in a church compound or something. And by that tree, there was riches, if there was fortune under the tree. And I mean, he could have just woken up and dug But his intuition was leading him to somewhere else. It was leading him to travel through a desert, right? Or go through a very long journey. And he just knew that, oh, I'm supposed to go here, get to one mountain and something like that. And even as I'm saying that, I don't think that the journey was so clear and all of that. I think with time, the journey kept unfolding. But when he got to the mountain, or when he got to that place that he was traveling to, a long journey, the wisdom he got from that place was that dream he had of his fortune under the tree, that it is there. Another person would say, hey, that's waste of time. It's waste of time. You should have just dug. You should have just dug and removed the riches. However, by traveling through the desert to the mountain, or to like all the experiences he had on that journey, by traveling through that place, right, he learned to trust his intuition. That's one. And he changed. The journey changed him and prepared him for the fortune that was already his. You get me? So a lot of times, we are praying for, there are things that we're praying for, and I believe that if there are things we really have the urge, or we believe that it's supposed to come to us, it's because, yes, we can actually manifest it. However, have the courage to be wrong. Have the courage to, I don't know what it is, but I have the urge to just stand, to jump. I have the urge to start this podcast. I have the urge to paint. Is that a lot of times that might not just be the only thing. Like you might be led through a process to prepare you to receive what is yours, right? And this I say from like a very personal perspective. When I started creating art, I would say a bit naive or weak-willed and all of that. And one of the things that I know that creating and having the courage to be like, hey, this is the type of art I want to create, as opposed to people saying, create this type of art, right? Having the courage to say, I don't know if people will like this, but this is what I really want to create. Having that courage to do that over time has built my will. Like my mind has given me such a strong mind to get things done, right? Which of course I would not necessarily, a lot of things I don't know, maybe some people have the gift of having being so like coherent with their plans and all of that. But some of us will have to build it. Some of us will have to grow through the process, right? And sometimes when we are praying for a miracle and all of that, what God is going to give to us is a process. What the universe is going to show up, right? Life is going to take you through like a process for you to mature to receive the things that you really want. So that said, and how do I bring it back to our artist journey? Is that have the courage to create what is in your heart to create. We don't have to like it. We don't have to like it. Have the courage to be foolish in front of us, right? If your intuition is saying, hey, get this thing done, just get it done, right? Is that in the long run, a lot of times when people say, oh, there's no wrong or right decision, like we're already afraid that, oh, are you inspiring people to do things that are crazy and all of that? In the long run, if you are wise enough to listen to your intuition, right? Mistakes add up to the story and bring the glory. That sounds very cliche and all of that, but like somehow, like if you never fell, then what's the joy in being able to stand up tall? Like, you get me? Like the contrasts, right? So do not be afraid. First, have the courage to be wrong with your art, with your decisions, because when you figure out, when there's a time when like, it's like your soul now taps you and says, okay, you no longer have to be here, move. It takes courage to say, you know what, I am no longer in this head space. I have moved. Do you understand? I am coming back to the tree. You get me? I have traveled through the desert, right? The desert was not useless per se, right? But there are some things that it has molded in me. But I'm coming back to the tree. Imagine that people had teased the guy and said, "Duh, Shebi, we told you should have just checked the tree." Do you understand? Like, how does he validate his traveling that long to come back to the same place? And that's another thing. You don't need our actions don't need to be validated by other people. Everybody, each one of us is an organism. What is an organism? An organization. A lot of times organizations have to are made to make decisions within themselves, then collaborate with other organizations, right? If an organization is always seeking for other organizations to say, "Oh, do this, oh, do that," oh, imagine Coca-Cola having Pepsi, or having what other bottling company is there, or having a coffee company make their decisions for them, right? Coca-Cola will have to make its decisions, make mistakes, and correct those mistakes. You get me? Through that, the company grows. Each one of us are organizations. We are organisms, right? And you have to trust God that, hey, I'm gonna get wisdom for this thing. I will grow. I might make mistakes, I might fall, but I will be able to retrace my steps. You get me? So I hope that makes sense. And I'm just basically saying, whatever it is that is in your heart to create, keep creating it, because a lot of times the intuition is leading you. That process is leading you to what your higher self wants, right? Or the dreams that you think that you want. Yeah, you're given directions that feel very stupid. I don't know, necessarily stupid or not agreed with by the crowd. Don't forget that olden days polymaths, people like Albert Einstein, people did not agree with them. It's now that so many years after, we are like, we are celebrating them and saying, "Oh, genius." Okay. Sometimes the world will catch up. Like, we would respect you in retrospect, and that's okay, right? But have the courage to take what you have, even when people don't understand it, and try, right? Now, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but I know that the process always leaves us different. And sometimes it's not really about how it will turn out. Sometimes it's the person that it makes us, right? It's not always about the product. Sometimes most times it's about the person that it makes us. So thank you very much. My name is Ruth Mahogany. I'm going to drop the link in the description for you to listen to my music. Have fun. If this made any sense to you, I hope it did. Drop a comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you very much.